2022. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name's Rick Crammond, and I'll be host today once again in these weekly Knowledge Seekers workshops. And once again, we have the honor of being joined by Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation. And I think he's eager to begin today's workshop. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute from somewhere on this planet. As we finished the teaching of last Thursday, and then we went to announce on Saturday the new cycle of the technology and knowledge, as we broadcasted on Saturday, the 28th of May 2022, that as we promised, we are ready to start testing on the 6th of June 2022, the structure of the simulation of the flight systems. And we have opened the door for every one of you to become a passenger of space. Further, we allowed many of you to come in and go through the simulation to see, for us, to adjust the system perfectly for the ultimate flight within. Maybe some of you will fly with the system, and some of you will find new dimensions in the system. In that process, what was and what is set out has been that you come to Linz and you fly through the simulation system in Linz. And we consider all the parameters for every single one of you, what effects you make, how it will change, and what will bring in, and what we need to adjust in our system. We did this initially, if you remember, in a Vienna conference. We brought the system in a different way, and we allowed the knowledge seekers who attended the conference, each one a few minutes to sit in the system and see. And we saw how each one individually controlled the system in a different way. And we saw, as I said in the teaching and before, one of the Austrian knowledge seekers managed to stop the heartbeat of the system, managed to tune into it. So it shows we control everything by our emotion, by our fields. And so after nearly 2 years of launching the enhancement unit, now we are in a position to test flight. Test it in a simulation of the structure, which is set within the what we call Linz headquarters of the Keshe Foundation, where any of you can come in. We don't have a pilot. You are the pilot. You decide in how you take the flight. We do not interfere. We create a condition that you are ready to go for a flight test, and we are prepared to take you back when you come off the test. We have built two systems, as I explained in the teaching, and you go from one system to another. And then we'll see in the dimension of the soul, or elevation in the dimension of the physicality, and how you monitor. We stay in. The first 2 days, 3 days are already booked. We only accept about 10 people a day. And we monitor, because it's not just for fun, it's for adding to the knowledge, changing systems that we get the perfection, monitoring how you go through the system. And many of you who, as I said, attended the American teachings on Sunday night, one of us as knowledge seekers introduced himself that he's been as what I call a test pilot through the first test in the system. And he explained his emotions and what he felt in the system. So we are going into the phase of the next cycle, new technology which has never been seen in public, technology which bring a new cycle. As I said, in past few days, I've been to every language teaching, nationality teaching, nations of UK English or the Americans, the Germans, and the rest to explain in more detail, to answer the questions that we take all the ambiguity out of what we call this new technology. What this technology is what we have taught you from the beginning. We taught and we collaborated with the Iranian government to make the first physical dimension of flight system. We use plasma nuclear technology to create lift and motion, like a planet does. A planet Earth creates this. And what it creates, then it dictates what kind of life can live within it. Earth dictates amino acid, which we are used to. And then this amino acid has a strength. This amino acid, even if you want to call it, gold has an amino acid. So it has a certain strength that it allows, it leads to its creation. And then we have a mixture of everything else. So we have created a generation of life that within the lift and motion creates a cycle of life. Then we had to allow the work of the universe to interact within these two gravitational magnetic field flight system and a live gravitational magnetic system, which is life as we have it. So if you go back to the teaching, in the past 20 years, I actually started long before that teaching my teachers and my professors. What I thought now is come together. We have broadened knowledge of teaching, and what we thought together developed a new science from what we call the science of life of universe. That in the universe, you can fly, you can maintain life in a different ways, and we have explained to you over past years how life is. Life has two parts. Has the energy part, which controls the physical part. The energy part, we call it the sun, we call it the soul. The physical part is the interaction of the environment with the soul which is created, which has led to its creation. And we maintain what we call intermediary, as we call the soul of physicality, which in fact is the energies of the physical dimension, is the inertia to create the life in interaction with the environment, which we call it the physicality of the man. Now, the knowledge has reached that point that we are ready to take man to the next step. As I said in the teaching, I gave many talks around different chat rooms, and I said I'll bring it collectively, that if you're not been or you haven't been to another and you can't understand the other, you will understand altogether what is being said in past few days as we expanded to extended knowledge. We have brought the knowledge of creation in totality in the reach of the man. In a way, man, physical development, as I said, the biggest innovation man is in the history of man was the wheel. Once the man created the wheel, then he started developing, separating from the animal kingdom in a way, because now he could carry more. He didn't rely on 2 legs and 4 legs of the animals which he was relying on. And he, with it, managed to grind flowers down and do all sorts of things, created the cars, as we call human race in the space, the wheeler race, because you do everything with the wheels. You fly, you have an aircraft with the wheels, you drive, you have wheels. Life of the man without wheels is no motion life, unless we put you on a rocket and you don't know where you're going to land. In this process, now we bring the knowledge of the universe, which separates, bring an end to the cycle of what we call physical knowledge, cycle of wheels, cycle of motion with what we call something secular utility. Now we go to the spherical shape of energy. We call it the plasma. And stars have a spherical shape. Earth has a spherical shape because he has a plasma within it. The soul of the man works in a spherical shape. And as we say, everything has to have a dimension to suit the work. When you see the sun with its size and the solar system it creates, you see, you need that size to create what we call the atmosphere of or the plasma of the sun. You have a huge, so many, whatever, 1,000 million kilometers plasma in the center, radiates out and creates our solar system. It has parts in it. Is emotion, is Earth, is fear, is Jupiter, and the other one is Saturn. You can name any part of this brain of the solar system the way you feel like it. We cannot fit the sun with its enormity in the center of the brain of the man. Doesn't fit, and it's too strong. So we have created the same star to fit the size of the body of the man on this planet in the center of the brain of the man. And so we don't need such a huge plasma of millions of kilometers. We need a plasma of very few micron. Because plasma have the same energy, doesn't matter where they are, they work on the same principle. They have access to universal energy for their performance, for their survival, for their existence. So in the space of the universe, in the solar system of us, we need to reduce the system's energy when they come out of the plasma of the sun, for the strength as they go further out, for the stronger fields with the interaction of what bits left in the middle, create copper, zinc, and the rest on the planetary system at the front. And when the energy, in a way, reduces after so many minutes, when it gets to the boundary of the plasma of the solar system, with hydrogen and helium, which what we see with Jupiter and Saturn capture. Replication is the brain of the man. Instead of allowing millions of kilometers of space, we have developed a structure of compressing and taking energy from this center, the soul, the sun of the man, what we call the brain. In a way, we put paper filter in to reduce the speed. And then as we reduce it, we use that energy for different purposes. The inner part goes for the functionality, the outer part goes for, middle part goes for emotion, and the outer part goes for physical interaction, where we've seen over years, we explain that the boundary of your brain controlling your arm and leg, and in the middle of it is different kind of emotion, languages, whatever you learn. So in a way, it's the same thing. But as I always said, a plasma can expand as far and to the limit that its environment allows it to. And we said this universe can expand and then has a limitation to it as much as the fields of the universe allows it to expand. The plasma of the solar system of ours can expand in a galaxy as much as the other fields allow it. It cannot just expand wherever it likes. The compression fields allows the size, dictates the size. So in the cycle of man, that compression field of the environment to control, to hold, is the flow of the blood. And the blood is the controller of the cage of the magnetic field of the soul of the man. Because, as I said in other teachings, a dynamic ion in a specific position creates magnet. Man has learned magnet in interaction with the what we call another metal creates magnetic fields and current and energy. And this is what our blood does. Creates a magnetic field to contain the leftovers of whatever is not absorbed with the brain, to contain the totality of the sphere of the what we call the soul of the man, or the star in the center. If you understood this, now we understand the rest of the creation of our physicality. If we reduce this magnetic field cage, the weakness allows more fields to extend out. This is what happens to us in sleep. The field of strength, the heartbeat, Everything else reduces by very, very small fraction. And that fraction allows more fields to radiate out of the brain, out of the body of the man, out of the star of the man into environment. And then when it travels, it interacts. And if he has some other connection, goes to that connection, because it already has it, just creates communication line with the connection it already has. And when you wake up, this system, as it goes out, it gets back, it interacts with these filters you put in, and you sometime deposit that interaction of the fields of the star with the others outside when the body fields are low to become what you call a dream, releasing some of the information of communication. In a way, our brain eavesdrops on a communication between souls. And then eavesdrops, he remembers. And then you wake up and say, I had a dream. And in fact, you didn't have a dream. You were cheating. You were listening to other people's communication. In a way, communication between your soul and the soul of entity, being a metal, you dream of gold, be it grandmother, being your brother, alive or dead, because you interact with the souls. Souls don't die, always interact. Man dies. Man has a cycle of life. Sun never starts shining. So it's the same of the soul of the man, the center of the star of the man. And so if you understand this, you remember part of the eavesdrop you did, you became the spy on your soul communication with other souls. And then you say, I had a dream. And, oh, you forgot. You never been told the truth about how it works. Now you know there is no magic. Your dream is an eavesdrop of your physicality on a communication between two souls, yours and the others and many others. Maybe you're in a party. Some of the people in the party are alive, still in the physical dimension, and some are dead. They're in the space dimension of the fields, not in the physicality. You see the grandma who died years ago, and you see your cousin who just born 2 weeks ago. And you're all celebrating his birthday, his birth celebration. Then it comes, if you understand this, for us now, with all the teaching we've done, we have given you the gravity machine, we have given you the most powerful generator as a Maghreb system in the dimension of the soul. You went for the crumbs, as I always said. And we have given you the dimension of life, which controls, in a way, the understanding of the work of your soul, the sun, in the dimension of the man, which we call it Daimon Asi. So, in this dimension, your magnetic field cage, you call your blood, we can interfere with. Even though you live a normal life, you're awake, if we create a specific field around you, we can start getting your soul leak information, get in touch with, and go through the cycle of going to the party, where everybody else is having a party, all the souls, but you're on earth in physicality, and you're left out in physical dimension, but the soul is actually dancing with the others, the aunties and their cousins and the rest, and the grandmother who passed away. So by creating a new technology of the space and evolution in the science of man, we allow that field barrier to extend. Then in that process, we have created two systems in the launch room of the lens. One is in the dimension of the soul, and one in the dimension of physicality. Because we can tamper with the field outside your body. We don't touch your body. We got nothing to do with it. It's very much, as I explained in many teachings, you're sitting in a room, You're perfect. Everything is nice. Temperature is perfect. You see the outside, and suddenly outside gets cold, and you see a moisture on the window. Control of the temperature outside has manifested the matter state of what is inside as a drops of water. We control the temperature outside. And then that allows us for you, for your physicality, to show itself or extend itself to outside this dimension. The man does not need the wheels to travel anymore. The man now has the knowledge, the science, the way the creation works. You had your time, millions of years, and we gave you a hand here and there for what we want to do with mankind when mankind reaches this point of maturity. But man became a little mature and, as usual, became arrogant. And when we gave man technology to take man to space, man used as a weapon, as a nuclear weapon technology. So we had to make corrections. So we had to bring a dimension. Simultaneously, many functions we set up to bring man to where we want, which is today. We, at the beginning of talk, said we built a nuclear plasma flight system. This is why we gave this knowledge to man, to use the energies of the universe at a very high level to create motion for man to escape the physicality of this planet. But what it demanded, greed of power and money, created nuclear weapon technology. And this is now obsolete. As I addressed the Iranian leadership, Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, yesterday in talks in the Iranian talk, Your Eminence, Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, stop the development of the nuclear weapon technology of Iran and open the nuclear plasma technology for space. Bring back the proudness of the nation, not the shame you have brought on the nation. The same we've seen what the Americans did in the Second World War. They misused the knowledge and the power we gave. But we did not stop, because now you see what I call disgraced Prime Minister of Israel used the plasma technology of Iran, which developed by the Keshe Foundation for the Iranian scientists, as a nuclear weapon, and brought more pain onto people. But in a way, it's needed for man to learn his own stupidity. But nuclear technology was brought to man to understand the fields which will come on the development of this technology. Man will understand what the beauty nuclear technology has, what opportunities will create for man that man could never ever dream. Mankind leaving the weapon technology and concentrate on the plasma space technology, you see the most beautiful line. Even if you understand nuclear power in a higher level, which is not open to the man, is the pathway to the creator. But as usual, man messes everything up. Now we're still there correcting it. At the same time, we had to create a communication line that we could speak to every man in a man's way. As they say, it's a man's world. Man made the car. But we, in the process of knowing what is to come, we brought the technology you call communication, mobile phones. If you thought man was so intelligent to get that on their own, you got a long way coming. We brought man to that stage, that man could understand communication through magnetic fields in a different way and forms that is prepared when we bring the totality together to be able to locate itself. On this planet, you use what we call the satellite system. You use whatever frequencies or whatever you like to communicate with each other. We have the same structure once the man becomes knowledgeable in the universe, in a different scale, without any of these satellite business you have. Magnetic fields, if interacted, become communicators of each other, replicators of each other. And this is what man has not understood. So in a way, in past 100 years, we set out to bring man to understand many things and make it everything physical, that he's happy he's done it. And as we gave you a leg with a nuclear, we gave you a leg with communication. Now we give you a leg with transportation in the dimension of universal community. I need nothing from this planet. The wealth I carry is more than what this planet can ever offer us. We don't need the wealth of a few thousand or millions, but it's the way man lives. And we spend that on man to learn to be detached. We do that for man to be able to go to the next step. And now we have created you the very first, what I call cart. When the man got the wheel and stuck something wood on it and sat on it and attached it to the horse or a donkey, and you start rolling and so now I can move. The system we are giving you is literally cart stage, but you have to understand how to make the cart, and then later on you can develop it to motorcycles and what I call the Rolls Royces of today and the most fast races of cars and everything else. And in that process, we are there to give you a hand. And the new systems in LINS are that helping the first hand for man to go. What we call present satellite communication, the mobile communication, in next few years will become obsolete because man will move into the dimension of the communication of magnetic fields, which any of us, we had the beautiful NASA with all these things looking into deep space. Nobody has seen satellites between the galaxies or whatever, because it works with the norms of the interaction of the field. With this new system, which we have launched as of Monday, for you to come in, is for you to start learning how to allow to reduce the strength of the cage, to allow to be able to interact with the others in the dimension of the universe. And then, if you like, we create a combination of the fields which allows you to allow this, what we call connection, to be traveling, but where you want, you can take one of the rays and give itself physicality. In a way, the soul of the man becomes the reservoir. And the river becomes the line of the magnetic fields. And if you like, you have a cup underneath collecting what comes from the reservoir and is manifested as what is in the cup. That water can go into the kettle, that water can go into the pot, that water can feed and fill another fish tank. So it hasn't changed the characteristics of what we call the reservoir, the sun. Now you still have the reservoir, but you manifest itself in the pot. So you behave as you are the source, now that there's more of you in the pot. So mankind can be in the system, but manifest itself in another point in the universe, another place. And in a way, if you make a cycle back, you can bring the water back to the main reservoir and you come back home. So with the new technology, what we talk is a reality, is what mankind has to learn, that the reservoir is within the soul of the man. We allow you to create that rivers to go out. If you go out in the dimension of the ending up in a pot, we'll see you as a water in there or as a water in the fish tank. And we can always suck it back, connect it back, and return the water back to the reservoir. And you come home and you say, I was a fish tank. I was a water in a cup. But what you say? I went to see mom. I went to the party. I saw the grandma. Because now that knowledge is available to man. And then, sorry, the grandma was alive, but the mother was dead. You see all of them sitting and kissing and cuddling. The grandma gives you a glass of wine, and then I knock on the door. You have to wake up. Or you say, I have to go, I have something to do with my physical dimension. You come back with a glass of wine in your hand. You got it from the grandmother who was alive. If you know what to do with it, you manifest back in the system with a glass of wine in your hand. The mother gives you a bar of chocolate. The chocolate you always love because she bought it for you from childhood. You come back with a bar of chocolate. It was not given to you in the dimension of physicality. No chocolate bar. In a way, for the conversion of the fields of the matter existence, we gave you the matter enhancement unit. The material enhancement unit was in a way to get you used to, you can create matter. We did this with the help of knowledge seekers in the lab of Austria years ago, and we showed it. Our team in Austria sent these materials to be tested, what it is, what was captured, what was converted from energies. In China, with the work we did, we created water. And we could see it because now it was another dimension. We knew what we were working with. In others, we created emotion. In others, we moved cancer. In others, we did all sorts of things over 20, 30 years of research. Now, what we are asking you is come to NINS, as many as you can, because we have to complete this cycle for man, the scientist, to understand, to be able to complete a safe physical structure for man to travel the span of the universe. But don't forget, when you travel in the dimension of the soul, you have no physicality, but you carry your physicality because you manifest yourself in another point because the field overpasses your physical body. Everything in the body gets fixed because otherwise the star, the soul of the man, cannot function. It's got a mishaps in the middle, be it a cancer cell, be it Alzheimer's, be it a piece of shrapnel, all has to be with the newest strength to be adjusted in a way to amalgamate the energies back into the star where they actually came from. Interaction of the field of your soul with the physicality dimension, magnetic field of inertia has created a tumor, has created a depression. One ends up in the interaction of the matter state, you see it as a tumor. One ends up in a matter state of the depression, emotion tumor. There's no difference. One has a physicality and one has the field. And in this process, when you land on the other end, the new space travel system, you're a perfect man. We are not offering you bedmeds or whatever. We are offering man a new method of transportation, a new method of being able to travel the span of the universe. And in that process, we are teaching you to start learning step by step. When you take a child to school, you don't ask them to write an essay about Shakespeare. You put a pen in their hand, you allow them to draw a small straight line, a small vertical line, horizontal line, how the curve is, and you give them a piece of paper to repeat to learn. And then out of that curve and straight line, you teach them A. And then you say, this is A. And then the B, and then you teach them how to connect A to B to make it A or Ba, and the rest of it. And now we brought man to that process. Forget about your achievements. Oh, we have a nuclear weapon technology, satellite-controlled supersonic bombs. They have no value. Have you seen the scrap? The most advanced weapon technology of man to kill each other is just a heap of scrap in the knowledge of the man. Any of you goes in the enhancement unit and his wish is to expand the fields of the nuclear bombs, you will do, they become obsolete. I've told that to the Americans and the Iranians for years. I don't need to do anything. I just expand the fields. Your weapon technology has no work You all have seen how easy it is. You put your wires beautifully coupled, working between two plates, and after a while, it gets black, it gets plasma nanocoated. All I need to do is to create a condition that all the microchips of nuclear weapon technology get nanocoated. No connection. But we allow this to happen because man has to come to the point of understanding there is no power in killing, there is no power in greed. We test you extremely extensively. All those who claim more sincerity, we test harder to see where the gold melts with the fire and when the man melts with funds, with money, with power. And we see one way or another, sooner or later, we find the limits of that. And we know we cannot go any further. The point of containment is done. In this process, now, with all the technologies which has been provided to man, we start to test. You are the pilots. As I said many times, there is no control room in this flight system, there is no toilet, there is no kitchen, and there is nothing else. 2 seats, very, what do you call it? You remember I told you, you get when the man first found the wheels, he put a piece of wood on it and suddenly the cart, you still see some gypsies doing it. We made you that for you to remind you, man has not gone far in knowledge of understanding. But within this system, we have created the condition of the opening the fields of the universe that man can travel. But at the moment, we do this within the confinement of the lens, and you are the captain. You go and say, I felt nothing. You go and say, I've been to moon, and this is a sand or a stone from the moon I brought back. You show it to us in your hand, we accept it. You tell us you met the grandmother and you sorted everything out. We still have to accept it because it's you are the captain. You know where you landed. We are not there to tell you who's right and who's wrong. And some of you go in the system and come out without anything. I didn't feel anything because you cheated your soul. You told to yourself, I'm going to see grandma, but in fact, I want to use the system to get some gold on the way back. You come back empty-handed. You cheated yourself, not us. So when you go into the systems, as I said to the Iranian yesterday, you have to go into the systems with the ethos of Mitra, with the ethos of Zoroaster. Think good about yourself and others. Do good and act good. And you achieve it. You become a pilot to go anywhere. Some of you will get touched emotionally because it's overwhelming. As John told us on Sunday, you fall in love. But this time, it's not a kiss on the cheek. It's something more inside. Then maybe you go the second time and you find what's inside. You find the operation of how you control that love, how became to be a giver. When John speaks about the falling in love, it's not a physical love. It's become detached. When you fall in love, you give everything. Nothing is important. And then trying to find out. John explains that he turned the chair because he moved from the animation of the plasma into the matter state to see. And he says about to see through the third eye. So these systems have different combinations, but slowly we teach you. Those who came, those who went, those who tested different aspects of this technology to reach the production of the system today are all knowledge seekers, or people who needed the knowledge to do something with themselves, save their lives, get rid of cancer, go and see the grandma, bring the father and mother on the table. What went wrong when you were alive and we couldn't talk? Now we can and sort it out. Knowledge seekers all have been through these phases of it. It's not the theory. Now we allow you that chance to do. And we invite you to lens. In a way, come in, captain your own ship. And captain your ship in a way that you do the right things with the right reason. At the same time, we are not looking just for one. We have asked different nationalities and languages to come as a group. We want to see what happened. We put a bunch of you into one flight system and environment of flight. Germans are coming. I heard Italians are renting a bus are coming. I'm sure we'll see a bus from France, and the Dutch are on our way. Some Iranians are flying from other points of the world to be here. Americans are on their way. Mexican and Brazilians and Africans and people from all over the world are on way to add, to put in the memory bank of this system, the totality of the race of the man. When you sit in that system, whatever you have gathered over centuries through your race will be shared with us. We don't download. You share it with us because it's like a magnet. You come in as a magnet, you put a magnet on a table with other magnets, it shares the fields, you take the magnet out, everything is still a magnet, but now everybody has a knowledge. This is how the universe works. When we ask you to make your way to the Lynn Center, is to gather that, to bring a balanced information for what we have. I have told our team, we need a fish, we need a dog, we need a cat, we need a leaf, we need a plant to go into the system. We are making the memory bank of the race of the earth. We take a stone into the system. And we allow, it's like your memory bank from your forefathers, what plants not to touch, what to eat. The rest of it becomes encyclopedia of the fields of the planet. And then we allow it in the development next for man to take the fancy of the travel in any dimension. But you need to be educated a little bit longer. Now, since yesterday, we announced the reverse of the system. You go to moon without telling us, you use the manned rocket technology, and we are very happy. We are NASA. We dressed our people in a monkey suit, but we got to moon as we saw. We had the fear, and we always have that fear. What happens if the thing doesn't jump up or the system fails? Man in that dimension of physicality on Earth of today will die on the moon. So NASA makes a call to Keshe Foundation. Can you help us? We have the Russians who boycotted the Americans. We are not supporting you anymore to go to the space lab. Let the Americans do whatever. If you have it, get up there and help your people. Now the Americans and the Russians come to Keshe Foundation. We have stranded passengers. No problem. We should be able, with the knowledge we have invited the head of the NASA operation to come to Linz this week. They've been openly invited, and they've been openly asked to watch the whole structure. What do? We didn't send them out of Linz. We have no connection with them. But hello, they carry a headphone, which through the satellite system of NASA, connected to Earth, we connect into it. We put them on the condition of what we call flight system, and we bring them back. NASA, there is no crisis. NASA, we have no problem, because now we travel the dimension of the universe. So for that effect, to perfect that side of it and our people understand it, yesterday we launched what we call the mobile plasma testing, which means any of you which carries a mobile phone and is anywhere in the universe on this planet, you bought a mobile phone to take as a souvenir to planet Zeus to show, oh, look at these humans, what they're working, what they're doing themselves. You think you just go to other countries and other places, and this place take you what we call souvenir to show, look, to what they have. People of the universe have done this with mankind for centuries and thousands of years. And now one of the best souvenirs we take is man's mobile phone. Look what they think, they're so educated. They have put a little thing together and they gone from the four-wheeler, now they're doing these things. Now we use that mobile phone. We only need 200 locations to complete our structure. You are in Sydney. To the operation of the fields, we bring you to Linz. And you go back. Excuse me, we don't bring you to Linz from Australia to be on the plane for 18 hours, 2 airports, no corona. We bring you out to Linz through the operation of the system we set in the center, flight time, 10 seconds. Maybe a minute if you don't want to crash into the wall. But we are not carrying you in the dimension of your physical body, as man has been trying for centuries, or especially in the past few decades, to see if they can move one atom, and there always leave bits of it behind the atom never manifest itself in another position. Then we send you back. In a way, we invite you for breakfast in Linz. You sit with other knowledge seekers, you explain to us how the Sydney was this morning, and you go back home. I said, I've been to Linz. This is a paper signed by Mr. Cash, thanking me for going there, and I'm coming back. You have a paper to show, and you take a picture with all of us. So we free this situation as of last Saturday. Come to Linz, go through the system to add the data knowledge, the Wikipedia of the man, as I call it, in the dimension of the magnetic field. And then we open the channel as of yesterday. Only 200 people will go through this, what we call transportation. We don't need more than 200. And we open the channels. Go on the channels and please sign from all over the world. We don't want all to be Americans. We don't want to be all Chinese. You have a problem in paying from China, speak to our people the way the money has to come to Linz, to the Keshe Foundation sales offices, the way it's set up. We control everything through the Keshe Foundation, Austria. We have registered companies, and in our process, we can do what we are doing correctly. Then you're Chinese, we pick you up from China. We bring you. When you arrive in Linz, I have a very bad news for you. You only spoke Mandarin all your life. You arrive in Linz, you speak German the way we do, or the Austrians do, and you speak English with us the way we do. Manifestation at the time of position in respect to, you will carry the emotion, understand when we tell you, as we had the example of, you're a bastard, you say, no, I know the father is not a bastard. It means you don't do the thing the right way. You will even understand the emotion of the language. And this is how you will travel the span of the universe. Go on the site of the Keshe Foundation on the sales, in the store, and we need 200. And we block out the 200. You're in Sydney, you're in Nigeria, you're in South Africa, you're in Brazil, wherever you are. Sign and seal the 200, because we set the map of this planet. If you're listening to me and you're on one of the ships on the oceans, please sign. We need you because we need the location. Later on, we understand. If you listen to this and you're a submarine naval man and you're allowed to receive technology teaching, as many of people do, sign in. We need you under the water too. And we want to complete this by Friday. Priority goes to those who register first. The first days of the Keshe Foundation in Linz are already booked. We have booking. We expect the payments and the rest of it to come in through. But as the knowledge seeker says, we are coming in, we can't pay, we come with the cash. Keshe Foundation has a specific registered, computerized by the Austrian banking and government. You pay us, you get your receipts, it's good enough. But you have to confirm on the email, and you have to pass all the clearance systems we have that you can come in. You can't just turn up, I'm here. Our one of good friends in Romania, he says, I'm coming in with my hammock and I sit outside till I get a place. Fill in the form, and car park of the Keshe Foundation, UNO Center, is now the residential place for hammocks. Understand? Come with the family, come with the friends, because we need to secure emotion in these systems. It's not just I'm coming there to what I want. We want husband and wives, father and mother, daughter and father, the son and the father. We want to know that the love of the two, the perfect parents coming with the son and father, will be locked into that in the next generation, next person going in would not get a prostate cancer when he's got a problem with his son. He knows how to handle it through the interaction field. In a few months from now, maybe we don't put a time on it, Keshe Foundation is very, what do you call it, unreliable when it comes to promising time, because we keep on researching, we forget what we promised, and we keep on carrying, developing. We will introduce what we call transit flight, which means you don't need to come to Linz anymore. We structure systems that we can go from New York to Beijing, from Beijing to London, and for lunch to be back home in New York. Then this has to be sorted through international organizations, immigration, calculation of who's going to be there, everything else, as we have created these problems for ourselves. The birds fly across the borders of this planet from continent to continent. I've never seen any of them hanging a passport on the backside. But man does, because man means money, and the money has a lot of things to do, how the government can abuse the others. Rob them, you control them. What they did with Africans, kill them in one of the largest massacres and control a nation, and then weaponize it by their fear. But this time it would not work. Then many of you, till the time comes right, you go from Sydney to New York. Are you carrying any American dollars with you? Your money is not accepted here. You go from London to Tokyo. Do you carry any yen? Otherwise, ni yen. You get nada, nothing, because you don't. But as I said, we always do the right way, the things long before. We introduce you the cash coin. You arrive in Tokyo, I have account set with the Keshe Foundation on a cash coin. You're welcome. You can spend what you want. Has the same value across this planet. Now you understand what we set you up with. And we have asked one of our beautiful knowledge seekers who knows this game to start setting up this process for the foundation, because he's an expert, he has expertise. And hopefully soon, with his help and the knowledge he has, we will be able to bring what we call cash coin on the back of the solid base of work of the Keshe Foundation, what we produce, what we have, and what other currencies allow us to be balanced with. Many nations' currency were backed by gold, but some of this gold were stolen, and some of them were stolen from the others to increase theirs. With the Keshe technology, we go with the work, the effort of the man's thought and knowledge, and we secure it that way. So you can see we have already set you up. We see problem with the world governments to accept how we're going to handle so many people that can land in New York, in the White House, sitting by the president, and they have no visa. Then it comes for man in the next few years to sort out this funny business of passport and finding a solution of trust in languages and nations. And this is the responsibility of Universal Council and the Earth Council. Now you know why we set you up. It's time for you to get started and get ready for what is to come, because once these people go into the systems, they come out of New York, officer stops them. Excuse me, where are you from? I don't speak no English. I just came from India. Do you have a passport? Unfortunately, I don't. I just came with the Keshe Foundation system. It would not work. We have to get internationally accepting the process of this technology by gaining trust that you came from Lens, you will return back to Lens. Keshe Foundation will give the guarantee to the government. As I said, in the very next few weeks, when we start mobiling you back to Lens, we'll ask the Austrian government to have a representative immigration in the Keshe Foundations that we have to. I'll just come in just to have a lunch and say hello to the Keshe Foundation in Austria, and I'm going back. You're a transit, no problem. Then we build the trust. Our team is there to produce 2, 4, whatever we can, systems that will increase the numbers in Linz. And then, with negotiation with governments, we place them in airports. We place them in center of New York, where immigration officer sits in the room and you come in, you don't need to go to the airport, get a taxi and come. You're in Central Square, you're in Hyde Park, in one of the hotels. They set the immigration office and one of the systems. You come in, how long do you want to stay? One day, your soul will tell the truth. I've come here to immigrate, but I want to see if I can enjoy for a month. But the soul says, this guy is lying you. He's come here to immigrate. Excuse me, sir. Do we listen to your soul or do we listen to your physicality? Everything is set for man to go to the next phase of maturity and come to Linz and join us, or go and become the 200 people. We bring you to Linz and we let the Austrian immigration to know you arrive, who's arriving, documentation is very done, and they sit there for you to come in. It's not a beam me up Scotty anymore. It's touch my soul and I'll be there. When you come to Linz, make sure anybody touches any equipment by hand, your time is over. No physical touch. You come in, you sit, you're given apparatus for control, you hold those and you walk out. Don't try to look whatever it is. We stop you, you're finished, your time is over. I just wanted to look, does not work. Because these systems are set to do certain functions and it cannot be malfunctioned. You come in, walk in, sit in your place, do what you want to do. Don't touch what you're not supposed to touch, and you will see the beauty of it. And then we bring you back to the operation of the physicality. Don't wait. I will come one day. That one day will not be here to add, to be part. Sponsor those who cannot come from South America as knowledge seekers with South Americans in Europe, which can come and add to the Wikipedia, the knowledge of the man in their systems. We ask you one question, and the only question we ask you is, when you come out of the system, write everything down. What you went through, what you saw, what you asked before you go in, and what you got when you were in. Did the two match? Or was the soul going in for something else and the soul of physicality was going for something else and the emotion was cheating both? So what you tell us, you saw the uncle, you saw a beautiful planet, you swam in the oceans of the universe, you met Spider-Man in another planet. We accept all of it because you were there, we were not. And you have to be true to you, because if you line up a line and line with yourself, you'll find out the next trip becomes impossible. This is why I said, I invited Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran to come into one of these systems. And we'll see if the sincerity is for the nation of Iran or other things which is not there. They would not walk into the system. The soul will stop them doing it. I always said years ago, when Mandela comes, you will see what he said, what he did, and what he delivered. He'll be one of the very few world leaders which will get into the system, because he did not deviate from his path. You will see none of the world religious leaders will go in and come out the same, because the crime they have committed is beyond to get to that position. As we say, they sold their souls for every criminality to be there. We don't expect any of the world leaders to go in and come out the same if they can go in. It's like two magnets. When you put the wrong magnets in the opposite way, it rejects it. It cannot come close to me. I'm pure. We see the change of the man. We see the evolution in the science. We'll see a new cycle of technologies and knowledge which come out. Your president, His Excellency President Biden, says in his inauguration and his election and his work, new technologies. His soul has been aware that the new technology will change the dimension of the nations is about to come. And now is here. We are not telling you something will happen. Today, Keshe Foundation team are putting your systems for Monday, testing it ready to be there. It's made, it's built, it's done, years of work is completed. You cannot replicate it even if you worked inside the structure of the Keshe Foundation, because there are many, many hidden things which is hidden within hidden what we hidden. That's what I said. You buy a replica, you will not work. And you find out you go to Mars and half of your leg is not there. Oops. How about the fake one? It's not anymore bearing a branded name, Adidas, but it's actually a fake one because this time doesn't fit. And this cannot be corrected. And we've seen one of our knowledge seekers who we helped a lot, and with the collaboration of the Russians and the other thinking he knows everything, created what we call the medbeds. And what happened to medbeds? They come to Keshe Foundation past few weeks, wanting to add our technology because that technology doesn't really work. As we say, the manure has hit the fan. It's the job of you knowledge seekers to add to this knowledge, to create a new cycle of man, a cycle of the man which has all the knowledge shared equally. And then when we bring the universal unit in a very short times, then you can travel the span of the universe, because now you practice, you all agreed, everything is settled here, there are no wars, there are no one to cheat you from your soul, and then we go to the next step. I'm here just as accommodator. I'm not here as any other point. I just brought the knowledge for you to gain, to bring the evolution and science of man, and as I said, to enjoy the dimension of physicality of this fact, because Mitra promised me a lot how this planet did. We had to come and see if Mitra was correct, and she was marvelously correct. The life of the new cycle of the man will become detached from physicality. The life of the man, through the love of understanding, the love of Mitra, which is in a way the light itself, is completed through this cycle. You have to add to it. And then you'll find out you cannot cheat yourself. You cannot cheat your nations, you cannot cheat your races into something else. We bring you the combination of the totality, and we bring you the essence of the creation. That's what I said. There is only one seat as a captain and one seat as a passenger. Would you like to end up in New York and your passenger in Beijing? Because you two did not truly agree that we both go to New York and then we go to Beijing. And then you say, my passenger's not missing. This is for you to be correct in interaction of the souls, understanding of the souls. It's not sitting in the car, going to see the mother-in-law, the husband, and she sits in the car and says, I wish I was going to my mom. And he can go to his mom. He will go to his mom. You go to your mom. What happened to your husband? I don't know. I lost it halfway. We agree. We go to your mom first. We have lunch there. And then we go for dinner to my mom. Then you both have dinner together in both places. Work with us to bring this evolution of science as rapidly as possible, achievable by all humanity. We came to you a few weeks ago asking for financial help for what Keshe Foundation could not do anymore. This financial help is to bring institutions into operation that this technology can be taught to all of you. It is not for us. This structure is set to not to spend time to clear the past, but to set up new dimension and direction that the Americans don't have, what the Chinese have, what the Chinese don't have, what the Iranians have. We open institutes in Beijing. We open institutes in Arizona, in Tehran, in South Africa, in Mexico, in Brazil, in London, and the rest. And these institutes work together for the evolution and science of the man. And it's not for me. If I touch, I can create wealth beyond whatever you could imagine. But we still hankle and buckle with human race. And we test the human race and we find the cheaters and those who lied and lied to themselves. They pay with their own process, not with us. We don't need to lie. Because the people who lie accuse the others to be lying because they know themselves they lie to everything. Understand the process. Work on the ethos of Zoroaster, on the ethos of Mitra. Enter the systems. Think good what you're going to do in there. Do good when you arrive in the position, and the other goods. You will find new emotions which you cannot describe, because these are emotions which we never felt before. John tells you, listen to the American teaching, how he felt the emotion of the fields from the head to the heart. We need to explain these emotions. This, we call it the emotion of the plasma, where the interaction of the fields dictates what physicality will feel, but we have no explanation for it up to now. As I said, there are many emotions that man has never knew. Now you are witness to interaction of the field of your soul and the soul of physicality. Make a word for it, which explains it. And I think one of the first people to do it is those of you who are going through the system. Feel the universal love. Feel the emotion of being loved. And as John said, is not a love as a kiss on the cheek. We need the 200 to be confirmed and completed by Friday. There is a structure for it that they'll follow. We need those of you who come to Linz, as many as you can, to build up the full picture. And then we need to bring the two together. And then we go for what we call transportation on this planet. And then in next months, depends how humanity responds to this situation, will open the universal transportation. You don't have the dress, you cannot go. You need to use the knowledge of the universe to reach different parts of the universe. You want to go to moon, you land on the moon of the Saturn. Yes. Oops, I made a mistake. On Earth, you have created GPS and you have the mobile. We can track you, find you, bring you back. You get buried in an avalanche. Nowadays you carry a mobile. You don't need to die. Beam me up through my mobile to the central control. Satellites are set. They don't need to come and dig you out. They move your soul and physicality will follow. As I said, once we complete this knowledge, death will be as impossibilities unless you decide to give the totality of what you put together to the next soul. It's like your wealth. When you die, you give your wealth to your children. You allocate how much to each. Now you do that with your soul. And then that leads to elevation of the other soul together, the formation of you gather, that it elevates the other next generation. Now you understand what Juggernaut has hit humanity. But the problem with this Juggernaut is he has no break, because it will keep on adding knowledge. It's a Juggernaut of knowledge, Juggernaut of love of the Creator for man. It depends how much of it you can take. And where you can attach yourself in this Juggernaut to travel the path which is going. It's not there to harm. It's to elevate the soul of the man. It's elevate to bring in life on this planet, that mankind and the kinds who live here live the life of the universe, which means a peaceful life, which means a cycle in change, which means bringing the totality in understanding the eventuality of one or the other. What we come to understand is that mankind is ready for that transformation. And we have brought you the tools. But we taught the souls, we taught with dust, with trust, to make the tools that it serves for the change of humanity. And as I said, when we go, we take everything with us to do a job. We just don't go and there trying to find a solution. We brought with us the souls which we know will do the job, and we implanted in those souls in the body of physicality of the man to work with the soul of the physicality of the man to deliver the technology and the knowledge that you needed to go through that evolution. Now we are entering the next phase, and we are there to greet you to start to be the what I call astronauts of the next cycle, and how we go to the next cycle. One of the most important part of this technology today is what we released yesterday. That 200 people around the world are very important for us, because we then can send you out and then we can bring you back. From Linz, we send you out, but we should be able to bring back those who need to reach the condition of elevation. You cannot travel. How many of you Americans or South Americans in the Spanish language meeting, I think, were told that we don't have the money to come to Linz? Can you get somebody to sponsor us? Can we open a KFSI channel for us? Send the funds to the Keshe Foundation. I want Brazilian to be tested. We'll find a Brazilian to be tested, to go to become a pilot. We'll find a Mexican, we'll find Africans. It's our responsibility to bring everyone into the system, because then pieces of the jigsaw, emotion of the man will be missing. Thank you very much for being there. We go through a break. We come back. I answer some of your questions regarding the flight system, and then we go into the teaching. And then we take, if there is time, for questions regarding the teaching. Rick, would you like to bring us to a few minutes of rest, and then we start answering a few questions for half an hour or so, and then we go to the next one.
Sure, yes. Okay, thank you everyone. We'll be back in a few minutes. This is the 435th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, June 2nd, 2022. And we'll have a few commercial breaks here and be back shortly.